Okay, so now that we have our smoothed out layer, I'm going to go ahead and flatten the image. And we're going to pop into our actions. So I've got the Newborn Essentials in Greater Than Gatsby. And I've also got here the Innocence Retouch, which is what I start off with. So we go down to Soft Red Reducer, play that. Brush tool, we're going to put our opacity back up to 100. And then we're going to brush that on. Now we're going to go up to Soft Purple Reducer. We're going to brush this on. It's a little bit too yellow on Bub though, so we're going to drop the opacity down to about 50%. I've got a little bit on the blanket by the looks of that, so I'm going to take that off. And now lastly, we've finished there, so we'll go up to Newborn Essentials and play the Soft Red Reduction. Which just gives it just a little bit more creaminess. I'll drop it down to about 38%. Now, I'm going to play the, flatten that first. Play Natural Baby Skin Smoother. And we'll go in and brush that on baby skin. I usually brush it on at 100%. Try to avoid eyelashes. And eyebrows. There's a bit of shadow on baby's back here that I don't like, so I'm going to fix that in a moment. But for the minute, we're going to drop that opacity down to about 50%. Just gives it a nice subtle blur. Flatten that, make a duplicate layer so we can fix this little area here. We're going to go to our color replacement tool, sample from an area close by. And go in and fix up that sort of grey shadowy area. That's obviously too intense, so I'm going to drop it down to about 50. Just takes that away a little bit. Flatten that again. And now we're going to go in and refine some of the features. So we want to darken and sharpen the lashes. Continue. Make a really tiny little brush and drop your opacity right down to about between 10 and 15. We're just going to run that along the lash line just to give it a bit of pop. It's not much, but it's just enough that we can notice a slight difference. So rosy baby cheeks, opacity back up to 100. Just on her sweet little cheeks there. We'll lower it down just to about 25%. And then we're going to go in with a soft lip colour boost. Add back those reds that we took out with the soft red reducer. It's obviously too intense, so we'll drop that down to about 30. There we've got that. And that's baby pretty much edited. So I'm going to flatten that. And I'm going to go down to our overlay blankets. So baby blue. Put that on, and then we're going to brush it off baby. Oops, too much. Make sure we've got it completely off her. Nothing more horrid than blue on a baby's skin. Okay. This gives the blanket a nice sweet look. We've got the paint on haze here, but I don't think it really honestly works very well. It's a little bit too bright for me. It's up to personal preference, I guess, but I usually get rid of that layer. Secondly, I'm going to duplicate the background layer, and I'm going to put in a Gaussian blur, probably around 30%. I'm going to get a nice big soft brush, lower the opacity. Actually, we'll keep it at 100 while we get it off baby. Oops. Should probably put a layer mask on there first. Yeah, 100% while we get it off baby. And then we're going to drop it down to about 25. And slowly bring in some more of those textures, but leave it nice and blurred around the edges. Just about that much, just gives a nice blur in the corners of the photos. Lastly, I want to put a little bit of colour into a hat. So we're going to use a curves adjustment layer, and going to bring in some reds. Probably not that much, just a hint. And maybe bring that up just slightly. Invert the layer. Put your opacity back up, probably to about 66. And it doesn't look like much, but it just gives it that hint more colour. Makes it just slightly warmer too. Bit more pop. Alright, now I'm going to flatten that image, and then we're going to paint on a rich vignette. Nice big soft brush, and just brush around the edges. I'll actually blur this quite high too, around 330, and then we'll lower the opacity pretty dramatically to about 30%, maybe even a little bit more, 24. Now, the last thing I do is make a duplicate layer, go into filter, camera raw filter, and go over to your HSL sliders. I'm going to go to the luminance, pick your oranges and bring them up just slightly, and also with your reds. And you can also play with our blues a little bit if you like. I usually only go with the saturation, give it a little bit more oomph, just the tiniest little bit. Okay, and there we have it, finished edit. So altogether we've gone from this image up to this image, and then our final edit, this image. Thanks for watching. Bye now.